anyone has any questions. We'll see what happens. Yeah, everything is new. Everything is nothing. Nothing is everything. And that's energy. That's what appears to be happening. It's unknowable, unobtainable, inescapable. Inexpressible. Hi, Michael.
Hello, good evening, Kenneth.
Oh yeah.
I just read the disclaimer there on your email.
Okay.
Is it supposed to be funny, or is it just me? Like it's almost like it's like kind of give me slightly Monty Python vibes.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know really, Michael.
Okay, fair enough.
I wasn't really paying it much attention. Yeah, I was playing around with words a little bit, but I keep going back to that and jigging it kind of slightly.
Okay.
It's not.
About,
yeah, there's nothing in it really.
right.
It's just the crazy litigious world we live in, and you would be shocked at how people try and say all sorts of people are responsible for all sorts of things. So then this, the usual has to be covered.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And that's it really. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Monty Python. I suppose that's okay. Monty Python are funny.
Cheers.
Could be worse.
Yeah, I just like I kind of got I kind of synced for your sense of humor. I thought I just wanted to check. So, okay.
Yeah. Hi, William.
Hi, Kenneth. So basically, for the last 6 weekends prior to this one, there was online retreats on. Obviously, yours was the last one. And then this weekend, there hasn't been an online retreat. And I've been worrying that I'm not making any progress.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of worried about you too, to be honest. I spent most of this weekend worrying about you because I was aware there was no online retreat. So I said, I think you're kind of falling behind a bit, really.
That's what I'm worried about,
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, when there's an online retreat on the weekend, it feels like so much goes on energetically during that time. And then I know my mind's saying a cause and effect thing, like I'll be closer to the me falling away.
Yeah.
Because of all that energetic stuff that's going on. And then a normal weekend like this weekend where there's not an online retreat on, there's not all that crazy stuff going on energetically. So I think, oh, no.
Yeah. So that's what's happening then.
Well, I want you to kind of tell me, oh, that's a story. There's no difference whether it's an online weekend or not.
Okay, that's a story. There's no difference whether there's an online retreat or not. Is that okay, William?
I guess. I'm still just looking for a way to, I don't know. There's still a sense of something hasn't happened yet that needs to happen, obviously, which is, this sense of me apparently falling away.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a narrative that's going on, isn't it?
That's what's going on there, William. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks, William. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Kenneth.
Oh, yeah.
I love to hear Irish people say my name.
Oh,
You
yeah.
are Irish, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm in California.
And how did they say it over there? All sorts of ways.
Colleen, like
Okay.
like a big A sound. I don't know.
Oh,
You guys
okay.
just say it right. You
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's so interesting. I heard you a while ago, and I was doing my major seeking, and okay, let's listen to these nothing people. Okay, I'm going to listen to some of these nothing people, right?
Mm.
And there was a total resonance,
Mm.
but it pissed me off. It just pissed me off.
Oh, yeah.
And so then
That's
I was back
cool.
to my other place where I was listening to somebody, and whatever, I had a knowing that I wasn't my mind and my body and blah blah blah, whatever it was that happened. Something happened, and it was different. And then I kept listening to this person, and this person saying, well, now you have to embody this thing, and then there's this bliss available, and you're the infinite supply. And, I'm walking around all day going, I'm the infinite supply, And then my little dog died. My little 2-year-old dog died. And it right in front of me, like, and it just broke my fucking heart. And it was like, I'm not the infinite supply. What the fuck? I mean, this is human. I'm still human. Everybody's trying to search to not be human, right? And I had that moment where I was like, I don't know, it just changed everything. And so now listening to you now, what I hear is completely different. It's whatever's appearing. And I think I think the thing that screwed me up so much that I kept hearing from all these other teachers was this bliss word. Like, I wanted to punch him in the face. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah,
what?
Can I just pick you up on other teachers? Because I'm not a teacher at all. So
I know that.
But I can never let that one go. I always have to.
I know. And I love that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is not a teaching. It cannot be taught. Anyone who's teaching something, it's in that dream of that dualistic dream, that there's somewhere to get to. There's something to know. There's someone who can know it, so on, so on, so on. And yeah, it does. It's often blissful, and it's
But that's a word that's loaded with so much shit.
Oh, it's total bullshit. Yeah, absolutely.
Nonsense. I mean, that what I experienced, if I could put it into words, is just being a part of everything. And like, still having I've been able to cry my whole life. So sometimes I feel like a lot of these teachers are just trying to get people to cry. And so they're calling it embodiment.
Yeah, I think most of these people are quite sincere, actually. They something kind of happened to them, so they sincerely think that this same thing can help other people. So they see other people. They feel like a person, even though they may say they don't feel like a person anymore, and they see other people. But your traditional teacher sees other people, and they want to help them to get to where they got to. So it's an experience they have, and they want other people to have the same or a similar experience, and then that's very seductive to the person. It's very seductive. It's and then that whole feedback of teacher student can begin then. So you have something I don't have, you tell me how to get it, I'm the student, and so on. And it just goes, it just appears to go around and be fed until it can just collapse, totally collapse. And that's the way it is. And it is usually blissful, and it is all of these lovely things, that people imagine this oneness thing to be or whatever, and it's all utter nonsense.
Right. And like you say, there's no processes, and there's no, although I do have to say that the veil does have holes in it, which have gotten slightly bigger. I know that sounds like a process, but that's what it feels like here.
Yeah.
The veil is having holes poked in it.
Okay. Yeah.
No?
No, I mean, that's the veil is having holes poked in it is what you're saying is that it sometimes feels like you're a person, is it? And then the hole is when you don't feel like a person. Is that what you mean? Or the person feels less real? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay,
in other words, it's a process going on here.
Oh yeah, it can feel like all the time there's a person, it can feel like a process. It can feel like there's less of me, and it can feel like a process. But of course it isn't a process, because a process implies time. And it's seen to not be a process when there's no longer a sense of being you, because it's seen that nothing happened. Like, this is nothing appearing to happen.
Can I ask you what was the last painful thing you went through?
I don't go through painful things. I don't
but
go through anything.
There is pain.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Of course, yeah. Enormous pain.
Right. So here's pain.
I didn't go through it though, because there's no me here to go through pain. But pain appears to arise, yeah.
Yeah. And I have that same experience. I have the pain, but there's not the big story around it like there was. There was a big story.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so horrible, right?
Yeah. So it sounds like maybe there's kind of an energetic shift there in that sense of who you felt like a separate person. And that's what's appearing to happen.
There was an energetic shift. And then I was just listening to this person who I really love listening to her. And she talks about being nobody and no thing all the time. But then she also talks about, okay, now you have to embody it and do this
like there's a
contemplative thing, right?
Of course.
Contemplative questioning.
Yeah. That's what I mean when I say this is uncompromising. This is completely uncompromising, because there's very few that are uncompromising, and there's many communications now that use they've kind of adapted a little bit of this language too. It's quite nice, and they start saying, no, there's no, and some of them even go as far as to say it's not that there's nothing you can do, there's actually no you in there that can do or not do. So it sounds very similar, and then at some point you will notice that you're being spoken to at some point in it, and it's energetically it's completely different.
That's what's been so confusing, is that they're
totally
talking
different.
like you, and then they're saying this other stuff too, layering on this other stuff, and
that's the way it is. There's tons of these messages now that okay, another way of putting it is the vast majority of what falls under non-duality is utter nonsense, and so most of them communications have all the lingo, but it's still someone speaking to somebody else, and it just becomes a religion or a belief system or whatever.
And you know what? Well, I've noticed They don't burst out in laughter like you and Tony Parsons.
Yeah.
They're so fucking serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like this seriousness about it, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's a kind of a cultivated spiritual
Spiritual.
kind of presence or something. It's hilarious, actually. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't, I mean, the way I got sober 28 years ago. I've been in AA for 28 years, okay? And now that's turning really weird because I don't even know what I know what they're saying in there, whatever, and it's fine. But the cool thing about AA is that a lot of it is not taking yourself too seriously. And when I went back and listened to you, I was like, oh, you know what? He is just laughing, and he's so much freer than, and I didn't notice that before because I wanted a process. And I literally listened to you and Tony Parsons and some other, and I thought, oh, they're only halfway there. Those poor guys, they're only halfway there. They're so.
It's so lovely because this is another thing a lot of teachers say. Oh, these guys, these so-called, and they have different labels for some of us, and it's really lovely.
Yeah.
Like, and then they say, it's lovely and it's really nice, actually. It's so nice, actually. But unfortunately, it's just half the story. You know?
Exactly.
And then they what they do is they say, they're describing the nothing part of it lovely. That's fine. But the part that still feels like a person, they completely neglect it and they pretend it doesn't exist. And then what they do then is that's where they go into that compromised story of speaking to somebody, and energetically it's totally, completely and utterly different. Like the two of them, it sounds like they sound similar, but they're actually
right.
oil and water. They don't mix at all. Actually, they're completely different.
Right. And the thing that they're saying a lot of times that confused me was when these emotions come, when these things, you know, there's things you need to learn about this. Okay.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I was having an experience of having the emotions and not having the story anymore, and having them be like, so what at sometimes, you know, but yet this person were telling me, okay, now you've got to embody it and understand it more. And it was like, no, why would I have to do that?
So in one hand, they're saying, yeah, it's unknowable and you've got to understand that. So it's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's total nonsense, yeah. But just when you were saying there as well, and you said earlier, just about it, it's an experience. What's being shared here now is not an experience at all. It's a person who has an experience. So it's not an experience, and it's not a state, and it's not anything imaginable by the mind, and it's totally unknowable. So all of them, whatever, yeah, that's what they're speaking to, that knows, and that it's the same thing as it's the same thing as you know, looking for eternity using time. You know, so this is eternal. So let's find eternity and meditate for an hour. Or you know, all of these, let's use time to access eternity. It's complete nonsense, because this is already eternity. There is no time. It's the seeing that time is an appearance.
Well, I have to say there is one guy simpler than you. Daryl Bailey. Have you listened to him?
No, I don't listen to
I'm
anybody.
sure you have. He's a nothing guy. But I mean, he basically says nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what's happening at all, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, completely. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Of course.
You know,
this is not known here. This is from unknowing. This is sharing from nothing. This is not, if this was from a person who knew it, who was imparting that knowledge to you, it would totally, completely different. Completely different. This is, boom, boundless and unknowable. To be honest, I have really very, very, very little or no interest in talking about people who so what happens in these, right, is someone says, oh, John says this, Tony says this, Peter says that, Anne says this. I don't give a fuck, because this is completely impersonal. No, but the impersonal aspect of this is absolutely stunning. It is absolutely amazing. It is. There is no Kenneth. There's no Kenneth. This is from nothing. Kenneth's just a character. So anyone else who's a character, that's just a character. But that's the part I like to illuminate. That's the point I'm making.
And
The,
if
the
we were, if
illumination
we,
is there is nobody, and that sharing, if it's a clear, uncompromising sharing, comes from nothing, and it is just a character there is no of no consequence whatsoever. There's no authority in this. There is no authority whatsoever. It's beautiful.
and if we had no mind, if we had no minds, if we had none of this shit that we're carrying around on
You
top
don't.
of our
You,
neck.
you already don't have a mind, but anyway.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I look at nature. So like there's ants and they're on crawling on a hill and they have a job and they live their life out. We try to kill them. You can actually see ants like running, screaming from you as you're trying to kill them. They do have some kind of survival instinct.
Mm.
You know, birds, all nature, right? They're just life is just living them. They are just living.
Yeah.
That's all we are.
That's all we are, yeah. But some of us feel that some of us don't feel that we're being lived, or whatever way you put it there. There's just aliveness. Some of us feel that we have a life, and that's what this is illuminating. This right now. There's some people on this Zoom. Apparently, there's nobody actually even on this Zoom. Really, it's amazing. But there's just all energy. But there's people who would report that they feel that they have a life, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong or right with that. And this is just an illumination that all there is life, or all there is energy, and there's no you that has anything. And when that's seen, it's seen. It's just it's very ordinary. That's the thing. It's not about an experience or a state.
How do you have a relationship like that?
I don't have anything, and neither do you. Neither do you. That's the hilarious thing. You might have a story about having a relationship, but that's all it is.
But you have to admit there's curiosity about it, because when this starts happening, it's hard to like talk to people. It's hard to. I mean,
Yeah,
like, you know, I've been a hermit for 2 years in my house with my dogs, you know, because.
Yeah, but I mean, that's probably the last 2 years, isn't it, as well? Like, I mean, but no, what I'm saying is that this is energy. It's just fathering appears to happen, but there's no separate thing called a father. There's no, even if you logically think about a relationship, we treat it like an actual thing. It's just it's all there is energy. Yeah. That's all there is energy. And once you treat a relationship like a thing, is that there's a real thing called a relationship, and there's a real person that I'm seeing, that I'm interacting in time and space, and all of that is just a story. It's an artificial overlay on what's appearing to happen. It's very simple.
Yeah, you're anting on an anthill. You're anting on an anthill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Kenneth. I wanted to talk to you. I'm very much enjoying the absolute rock bottom simplicity.
Yeah, no, it's stunning. It's stunning. It's just boundless and stunning and inexpressible, and nothing to do with Kenneth. But yeah, there you go. Lovely to hear from you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello, softly blossoming. What a beautiful username.
Oh yeah, hi. So, when I hear this message, I feel like the sense of a separate self has a certain spaciousness around it. Which is the understanding of how hopeless my predicament is. I'm guessing this is just another experience, and it's basically just bollocks, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's just what appears to happen. It's not anything. So there's the way you described it. There's a spaciousness around the sense of being a person, and that's there's a quality of hopelessness to that. Am I kind of capturing what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like there's like a correlation causation relationship, but it's not like that, because it doesn't feel like there's a cause and effect. It feels like it's the same quality, that hopelessness, that sense of giving up is the sense of spaciousness.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what's happening there then. Do you know, I mean, nobody else can describe what's appearing to happen in that body mind, do you know? And that's the only person who can really describe it is the person who's you know, apparently there, you know. So that's what's happening there then. Do you
yeah,
know the and hopelessness is like this is completely hopeless. Totally, this communication, what's being shared here, is utterly hopeless. Of course it is.
yeah. It's
So
completely hopeless.
of course it is. It has to be because it's hopeless. Because what is there to hope for? I mean, where if there's something to hope for, then there's something better. There's
Yeah,
something around the next corner. There's something to be attained. All of that nonsense. This is beautifully hopeless because there's just what's appearing to happen. There's already just nothing being everything. So if there's a sense of hopelessness arising, if you want to put it like that, that's already it. You could say that's what's appearing to happen. It is the hopelessness. The energy of being a person, because it's a hopeful energy of moving forward, would feel a sense of hopelessness as the most terrible thing, you know, and they would desperately try to get that moved off and have a move of move in hope again, because that's the whole energy of feeling like a person. But it is already the hopelessness.
I really relate to that. I really relate to that feeling of trying to fill the space with something, some
Yeah,
concept, some thought, some explanation, some
yeah.
understanding.
And there is no space. There is no space to fill.
Good God.
Um, there's no there. This is just nothing being everything. There's no you that there's space around. There's no you that's inside. There's no inside. There's no outside. Only in the story. That's all of these things are an appearance. There's just energy, which is nothing being everything, which is what appears to happen. Sitting on a chair, speaking, sound,
Wow,
a
that's
thought.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Lovely words. Yeah. It's crazy how something appears to happen, how apparently you like gives this message out and then something seems to happen here. There's some shift in the state of consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even go adding on to the state of consciousness, because this is nothing to do with awareness or consciousness, but this can resonate. This can resonate, yeah. Nothing to do with anybody. It's nothing to do with me or you. There's just energy. But when there's an openness to what's being shared, it can just resonate. And it's completely beyond knowing and understanding. There's nothing to know. There's nothing. They're just simply energy, whatever's appearing to happen. And so it's the same, but it's completely different than it was also. What was yearned for by the person is already whatever appears to be.
Wow. And it has to be this way because it's always just the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the way it is. It is how it is.
Yeah.
Things being different are only the product of the mind thinking that things could be different than the way they are. Because the person kind of has a feeling that this isn't quite it and it needs to be different to this. Again, that's back to the hopeful energy of kind of rejecting what appears to be in favor of what could be or might be. And that's that whole lived reality, that causal reality of the person, of that movement towards something. And it's a lived feeling. When it's there, it's a lived reality, and that's the way it feels.
Wow. And yeah, like you said, it doesn't have to be, there doesn't have to be anything to replace the sense of self when it falls away. It doesn't have to be replaced by infinite consciousness or any awareness.
Oh no, that's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. There already is no self, you see. There already is. So it's not even that it's replaced by something. It's just seeing that it's a story. It's just a story. It's just an artificial overlay on what's appearing to happen. There's already no body. There's all there is the lived feeling of feeling separate, and then people reporting themselves to be separate, but that's all. And that contracted sense of separation is there till it isn't.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to speak to you. Hi, Bill.
Nice to speak to you too.
Oh, Bill was, maybe he didn't mean to unmute.
I have another quick question for you, Kenneth. I've met a lot of lovely people in this sort of radical non-duality circle. Do you guys have like a sangha or somewhere that your students can meet up to discuss these ideas?
No, I don't have students. If I had students, that would make me a teacher.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, there's just this sharing, and anybody is welcome. It's completely open and shared in open friendship.
Beautiful.
And that's the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I start meetings back, people have a coffee break and things, and they can chat and do whatever they want. But yeah, I mean, this is the most. This isn't a. But people. It's incredible actually, because the energy is totally boundless with this. It's stunning. And the most wonderful friendships I've noticed really kind of form around this. Lovely friendships that have a different quality, that aren't kind of agenda-led friendships in a way. It's a bit of a story as well, but I've seen that a lot, actually,
Yeah, I noticed that in like the breakout rooms at Emerson's retreat. For me, it was just the all-pervading hopelessness and meaninglessness and nothingness. It was just everywhere, and it was just like people knew that they were just talking about nothing important and nothing mattered, and it made.
Oh yeah, there's an energy. There's just an energy to the communication, and it's totally indescribable. There's just a complete boundlessness to it, and also the thing is, you are being seen as absolute love. You are being seen as nothing other than unconditional love. So that's quite a remarkable thing, because you're not being seen as an individual, because that's a story. So
thank you for those messages.
Thank you.
By the way, chat. Thank you.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Gisela.
Hi, Kenneth.
Oh yeah.
Hi. I have two comments to make. When the first person was sharing, I felt like from the nothing and everything of what it was appearing, I contracted in a person, and all the judgments of my person came up. So that was what was appearing. And it's not, if I don't attach anything to that, it was just an appearing, right? But if I attach the me to that appearing, then I go into wanting to change that. But that was just what came up a little while ago in my listening. So that is one, like when I'm just allowing what appears to be happening without the person or the claiming that's me, it's just what appeared.
And who's allowing?
Who is allowing? And who is allowing, or whatever.
Who's there allowing what appears to be happening?
And who is allowing that? It's just some appearance.
So it's more simple than what you're saying. It's ridiculously ordinary what's being shared here. It's absolutely immediately just whatever it appears to be happening. That's all. So there's sound now. There's sound, the sound of a voice. There's sitting on a chair. There may be a sensation in the body. There may be a thought. There may be an emotion. It's that simple. That's all it is. And then the person adds all this to it then, and this.
It's all that to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And even to what it listened, the nothingness, whatever appears to be heard from the person believes whatever story comes up with that. But that was not actually what I wanted to kind of bring up. It's like, so this is one, thank you for that. It's like, for me, what helps me is like when I say that what appears, the wording in English is somehow hard. So for me, it helps me to just say what is. Sometimes it in a way, well, I know there is no me, but like it kind of will, what is. And I'm the concession, whatever. So my question is, when we say like the first name of the unnameable is the I, like I going back to the I am, it's already duality, right?
I mean, that's kind of spiritual speak to me now, really, to be honest. Once you start getting into that sort of language, it's going back to this and the I and the traceability. For me, that's all just spiritual language, kind of.
Spiritual language, and that's.
Yeah, I've no interest in it, really. You know, I mean, it's very, very simple. It's too simple. That's actually the problem. It's it's much too simple for the person. There's already no separation. There's already no individual. There's already no separate person. There never was. There is just what appears to happen. And in that then there's the appearance of feeling separate. It's it's a contracted energy, but it's an appearance. It's not real. So what's being shared here and illuminated is there's already just boundless, unconditional love. Nothing mean everything. That's all there is already. And that sense that's there of being a person is a story or is artificial. This is not something that's knowable or approachable or anything, because all of that knowing is within the closed loop of the person. And so when you feel like a person, a separate individual, what's actually yearned for is just simply whatever appears to be, which is completely unknowable, which is then frustrating to the person because the person wants to know that it's unknowable, and so on. Well,
it took out of my everything. It was like when I first listened to you, which was only 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like everything was, and it's so in resonance, but it's like I'm in a crisis of integration. Or the person I believe to be, it's like, I mean, I make my living out of that. And suddenly I'm like, it's like.
Yeah.
There's nothing to go back to, or like.
There's nothing to go back to. No, it's all a story. All of that's a story. And what's yearned for involves total loss of everything. Total loss of all ideas, concepts, beliefs, everything is
you
totally
said free
gone.
fall. Free
fall.
fall.
Everything is lost because all of that was in the story of the individual. There's nothing left to hold on to. And then,
and I'm like,
nothing is everything. Boom.
It's like there's nothing that my mind can grab or make sense of. Like,
no, I mean, and there's no compatibility with what's shared here and what you were talking about there, about how all that other teachings, all of them, they're not, there's nothing here that will be, can somehow be integrated into any of that.
Exactly.
So
so it's like, I like the word I saw. I don't know where I saw it or heard you say, like free fall, like if it's a constant free fall, like.
yeah, I love that term, free fall. The first time I heard that was actually Tony Parsons used to say that quite a bit, and that was the first thing I did, was I set up a website, and the whole thing was called Life in Free Fall. I just loved that expression, so that was borrowed from him, or that was the first place I'd heard it, and it's a beautiful. It's kind of a terrifying expression too, to the person, to have everything to be in free fall, like there's nothing to hold on to. But for me, it kind of speaks of the absolute aliveness of what's being shared here, the complete, utter, full-on aliveness, which is unknowable by the person. It can't be described, and the person, as opposed to the sense of the person who lives in the known and is very much in control, of their life primarily. It all goes back to the control is of their life, and you don't have a life. You never had a life. Nobody ever had a life. Nobody ever. Yeah, it's stunning. It's absolutely amazing.
It's tears. It's tears, but the person is coming tears. It's like
yeah. Yeah, and it's nobody can describe it, actually. Nobody has ever been able to describe it, and to the person then that sounds like it must be terribly esoteric and complicated. And the amazing thing is it's not at all. It's actually so ordinary that it's continually overlooked. It's just simply already whatever appears to be. How amazing is that? What an incredible way to appear to hide. Just already be everything.
Well, it crushed everything I was holding on to.
Yeah. And when there is nothing to hold on to, and there is nothing, everything is nothing, because everything is completely empty. Nothing is everything, and everything is nothing, and that is unconditional love. Completely unknowable, unobtainable, inescapable. So thanks for coming on. Nice to speak to you.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Kenneth. I just wanted to share, a couple of days ago, I was in a Zoom meeting with some friends, and it was like all the meaning was just dropping out of what it, like there was no meaning for the whatever was being said. Just no meaning. And then I thought about what you said about somebody had asked you, do you talk to your wife about this? And you're like, what is there to talk about?
Yeah, what is there to talk about? Yeah, I mean, what?
And that was like, like this whole drive, like in the past when I was, had all these concepts and spiritual teachings, you know, I would want to tell my friends this is
Yeah.
and it was just, yeah, it was just so beautiful to just,
yeah, totally. It's
like
gorgeous.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's just what's appearing to happen. And that's it. Yeah. Nice to speak to you. Thanks, Zoe. Sorry guys, I didn't get to any of the chats and stuff. I can't really read it very well. Thanks very much. It was really lovely to hear from some new people too. Really lovely, and nice to see you all. And I'll speak to you soon. Yeah, I put it in the email. I'll try and get an email out earlier this week, but I hope to confirm that meeting in Galway in a few weeks' time. So there'll be more details on that anyway. And I'll probably have one this Wednesday, but it might be a little bit later, maybe an hour later or so, but I'll send an email anyway. And I just have a link there in chat. I just put it in for people to contribute if they wish. So thanks guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenneth.
Thanks,
Thank
Kenneth.
you.
Thank you.
Kenneth.
See you soon.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Great questions.